Hey everybody, Sandy here here with My Side of the Fence podcast. It's been a minute since I did one of these. I have been trying to shake some sort of crud for the last week and a half, and it's just kind of the way it goes. So I am here with Ashley Hutson, a council member for the city of Manassas. And when were you elected?
Just last November.
Just last November. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I interviewed one of the school board members, Dana, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was elected last November too.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like where'd you grow up and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, in doing some research about you, Andy, I found that we have this in common, that I am also from Manassas.
Oh, yeah?
Grew up in the Prince William County portion of Manassas in that 20112 zip code,
Yep.
But just off of Hoadley Road. My parents were high school sweethearts at Woodbridge High School, so we've been Prince William County people for
Wow.
a long time.
Wow.
But I graduated from Osborne Park and then Christopher Newport University, where I got a degree in Spanish with a minor in communications. From there, went to work for a highway firm where I was kind of the office manager of sorts, the HR person that could speak Spanish when they much needed that.
Right.
And eventually met my now husband, and he is from Manassas Park. So we settled in the middle of our hometowns in the city of Manassas. First living in the apartments that are above Ameriprise.
right
on Battle
in Old
Street.
Town.
Yep. And then we were fortunate enough to purchase our home in the fall of 2020. So we've been City of Manassas residents officially since 2019, but of course both of us grew up in the area.
Right. What does he do?
He works for a utility locating and mapping firm.
Right.
So engineering stuff.
Miss utility kind of thing?
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do now?
I work for the Heavy Construction Contractors Association.
You work for HCCA?
I do, yeah.
They used to be a client of ours.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
Yeah. They've moved offices a couple of times. Used to actually be located in the city, but currently over off Hornbaker, near Two Silos. So that firm represents about 200 companies in road building, site development, and utility infrastructure. We provide safety training and all of the OSHA and VDOT related topics in English and in Spanish, some online and the rest in person. And we have an advocacy arm that works with the General Assembly as well as the local municipalities. And then we also offer business development networking event, different things like that. So actually this Sunday we have a charitable 5K that's happening on Discovery Boulevard at Two Silos.
Oh, cool.
So that should be good. And we'll have a little touch of truck beforehand, because when you have access to heavy equipment, that's what you do. So we do a bunch of different stuff, clay shoot tournament, multiple golf tournaments, but then we also really focus heavily on education. So providing the connections for our membership to reach the municipalities or the regulatory agencies or whoever it is, try to provide that connection, and then, presentations whenever there's new stuff coming out. Just anything we can do to help the construction industry, we do that.
How long have you worked there?
It will be 8 years in October.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys helped get the Boys and Girls Club done at some point in the past.
We did.
I've seen your logo up on that thing.
Yeah. It's a 65, 67-year-old organization, and they have had their hands in quite a number of great things in the area, including the Youth for Tomorrow out in Bristow. HCCA had a big hand in that back in the early 2000s. And we do an annual community service project where all of or however many companies want to contribute, they'll contribute labor, materials, equipment, to do a community service project for the municipalities in Northern Virginia. So,
cool.
Just this past spring, actually, we did the fishing landing down at Cannon Branch Fort Park.
Oh, yeah?
So now there's a walkable trail down to the water, and then two little pads, one that has a picnic table, and then the other one that's kind of set up for fishing. So
that's neat.
Yeah,
That's neat.
It's a great organization. I'm very grateful and fortunate.
Yeah, they used to have an event like out at the fairgrounds that we had a booth for or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Sarah, my wife,
It was
Sarah,
the
was way more involved.
equipment rodeo.
That's it.
Yeah, it was a big thing back when you could just kind of freely use equipment without a bunch of permits and liabilities. Yeah.
That's not a thing
Yeah,
anymore.
no, it was a big thing in the 90s though, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember that. Yeah. So you guys live here in the city?
We do.
Yeah. And so why did you run for office?
Well, general fear for how things are going in the country, but also I thought I had the right set of skills to do the job, working with HCCA and working alongside the General Assembly, in lobbying capacities or even grant writing capacities and things like that. I felt like I had the right skill set to advocate for the people in Manassas, to really, listen and kind of contemplate their needs and make that connection to get whatever it is that they need done. At HCCA, a lot.
Who talked you into it?
Who talked? Nobody.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it started when I was walking. It was when I lived in Old Town, and I guess it was the 2020 election. I was walking my ballot down the street, because why use the postal service when you can walk it down to City Hall, and the now Mayor Pam Sebesky and Tom Osina were all outside of the City Hall, gathering support. I met those guys. They recommended I get involved with the party, and I became the fundraising chair for a bit.
Oh, wow.
Of the party. So I had a nice chili cook-off and a little bake-off event as well.
So you spent some time in the trenches before you decided you wanted to go ahead and handle this.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say. I would definitely consider both Pam and Tom and Mark, and the mayor, all awesome mentors that have taught me a lot, but I wouldn't say anybody.
Maybe not Wolf.
No. I've learned so much, learned a lot about a campaign from that guy. But
he and I served together for 4 years or 6 years or something. And, together we got a lot done.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Manassas has come a long way. Being somebody that's from the area, when I was a kid, nothing brought my family in this direction. Like if we were of course my parents were Woodbridge people, but if we were doing anything, it was going the opposite way just because there really weren't attractions, like family oriented attractions,
right?
Even as recent as 25 years ago, here in the city. So
are your folks are they from this area?
My mom was originally born in West Virginia, but moved here when she was like 3. And then my dad, his family was Air Force. So he was in Virginia, though, by the time he was in middle school, I think, because he's the youngest of the family.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So, they grew up here.
Yeah. Someone retired and they got stranded in Virginia.
Yeah. Just stayed around. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people around that. They're in Northern Virginia. It's kind of a weird place. It's hard to explain to people that aren't from or have been here. Like so many people, they're transients. We've had, even in my business, we've had any number of people who come in with their spouse, and the spouse is in the service of some sort, and then 2 years later they bounce.
Yeah.
Which spouse gets transferred to Guam or something, and they got to go. But then you run into people that have been here their whole life, and it's sort of we're like unicorns. The people don't understand what happened here.
I don't know. I do feel like there's a fair amount of people, I have heard a lot of people say that, but I do feel like there's a good amount of people in my generation that are staying around.
Yeah.
I think after for those of us that went to college, a lot of people I knew moved up to Arlington for a little bit, but then that's not a sustainable place to live. So we all, once we settled down and got our spouses, we settled back in Prince William County where we all, the area where we all came from. There are several people in the city that I graduated high school with that have little babies and they live in the city now, that of course they grew up in the county, but they live in the city now.
Right.
But I see a lot of people staying around. I think that there's so much opportunity here.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. There's so many in the access to professional sports, and everything in DC. And then you can also get to the mountains and the beach so quickly. I do say, I don't think people move to Virginia for the weather, but there's a lot of great opportunity here.
Well, and that's exactly it. I think that the difference from when I was a kid, I'm 59. But when I was a kid, even in high school and when I got back from college, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity here for people that were, 24, 25, and then, they find their significant other and get married. And, the high paying jobs weren't, with the exception of Lockheed and whoever owned that over there at the time. But now it's a madhouse. There's places to work that pay real money.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot, I mean, a variety of opportunities too, whether it's trades careers or white collar careers. Yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff bringing people here.
Because when I got out of school, Sarah and I moved first I moved to Springfield and lived in a house with 4 of my college buddies. That was a disaster.
Right.
It was basically the 5th year of college.
As one does. Yes.
And then Sarah and I moved to Sterling because I worked in Herndon. I did environmental consulting work, and then Ashburn, and but just places around there because that's where the better paying jobs were.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with remote and all that fun and games and growth in the local business community, there are jobs here.
Yeah,
there are jobs here.
Oh yeah.
It seems like people are sticking around. So, when you ran for office, that was how long had you been in the party before you ran for office? 2 years?
4.
4?
I guess, yeah. I started getting involved in 2020, yeah.
And then did you, when you ran for office, did you do like the typical, like you raised a bunch of money and then you went and knocked on doors or mailers? What was your main sort of?
Yeah. So first, we had a primary. So that I want to see if we have that need again, if we can switch to ranked choice voting, I think it'd be good.
And ranked choice voting is it provides some weird results, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets everybody's voice heard.
Yeah.
And I think you come out with the same one on top that you would have, but instead, just get everybody more involved. So I don't know, but that's a different story. So when I had a primary, I teamed up with Tom Mosina and Mark Wolf.
You guys ran as a ticket?
We ran as a ticket, which I was, fortunate to learn from experienced candidates in a big way. And that's where I say, Mark has been an awesome mentor. He drafted up that mailer and,
he understands the business.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a lot of positives from that, learning that stuff. And then, but I did raise about 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, knocked on a lot of doors from June to November. Yeah, a lot of doors, especially the Battery Heights apartments stick out. The stairs, there's a lot of stairs. So yes, a lot of door knocking, which, is sometimes people don't answer the doors. Sometimes you're leaving messages for Ring doorbells, which is goofy, but you'll do it. And, but overall it's, as nerve-wracking as it starts out, once you do it a couple times, you're just like, all right, let me get through.
And those first 2 or 3 doors, brutal.
Yeah, really nerve-wracking.
When I was door knocking in my neighborhood, and I walked up to the first house, and I'm like, my wife and my daughter, she was, about yay, and I was like, man, I don't really know what I'm doing. We got to go knock on this door. And my daughter just starts walking up to the door. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not ready. And she knocked on the door. And I was like, okay, well, now we're in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. It was every day that I had free time, I was knocking on doors. I mean, I would always, I would target like the afternoons when people are getting home, but, but did a lot like every day that I could. It was funny after the election and I was just at home. My husband was like, you don't have anything to do? I was like, no, the election's over. We did it. So yes, that was a lot of work. But it's such a great community. You meet so many good people. I will say the odd part is when you tell people what you're doing and they just don't want to talk to you. And it's, and like, they almost look like you are coming up to them with an infection. Like they're like trying to take steps away from you, like slowly backpedaling. And it's like, I'm trying to be your local representative.
Right.
Like, like, don't you want to know who this is? So it's those interactions were always really kind of odd to me. Like somebody's like, oh, I don't talk to politicians.
Oh, I
prefer public servant. Can I help you? Like, but just get off my lawn energy.
What's the weirdest one you had?
I know. You're barking up the wrong tree, sweetheart, once. I also got, you're a Democrat, so you want all of the kids to turn trans.
Right, like you do.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just standing here. And that was outside of City Hall. I didn't say anything.
That's weird.
It was weird. Yeah, it was weird. But overall, friendly interactions. It's funny when and I know, standing outside of City Hall and there's the lines you can't cross. So you're like hollering at people.
Yeah.
Like, please come take this paper.
Right.
Like, I'm only yelling because I'm on the ballot,
right.
Which was, a lot of effort there as well.
I don't know how many doors I knocked on. It was thousands.
Yeah.
But the strangest one out of all of them, I knocked on this door, and the door, they had like a storm door, and the inside door was open.
Mm-hmm.
So like, they were hung, right? So I knock on the door, and I can see this guy in the back hallway, like lean his head out, and he looks, and he sees me, and I hold up my little palm card, right? My little thing that has my picture, and, I want to do these things. And he kind of squints at me, and I guess he resolved, all right. He comes around the corner. He's wearing his underwear.
Oh, yeah.
Tighty whities.
Okay.
Not boxers. In boxers, I feel like you can just fake, like they're shorts, right?
Yeah.
No. Tighty whities, there's no mistaking what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he opens the door just a crack, and he reaches out and snatches my card out. And he looks at it, and he opens the door just a crack. And he says, do you support, the city's budget not growing so fast? And I said, well, yeah, I think we need to be a little bit more measured. And he closes, he says, okay, fine, I'll support you. Closes the door, throws my palm card thing, turns around, and walks back down.
Yeah.
I saw him. He's in the Baldwin.
Okay.
Not the Baldwin, Weems.
Yeah.
I saw him. He came up, and I was like, I talked to you, and he goes, yeah, I'm here to vote for you. I was like, okay.
There you go.
That's a little different, but okay, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall friendly, but definitely some people that they don't want to talk to you. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to talk to me,
I get it.
But I'm like, please vote though.
Well, I think, in the life of the city, most localities, not just Manassas, a lot of that local infrastructure is unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're hollering out at people in front of City Hall, and I'm like, do you know who you're voting for? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, in the local elections too. And then they stop like,
no,
there's a local election.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot to keep up with. We have elections multiple times every year here in Virginia, yeah. I mean, it's
every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it, but it's important. You gotta.
I do think that it would, it's a thing. And there's primaries and the general elections. And, if you're in a presidential year, forget it.
Yeah.
You're going to have a whale of a time trying to get down and get your message out to people. And I think that the net is that a lot of people just vote straight ticket. Mm-hmm. And there's no easy way for them to get information. There's nobody like calling you guys up from the local paper, right?
Well, just the patch.
Well, right, but that's it.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
There's no. I mean, I'm not saying this was just a problem in Manassas. It's nationwide.
Yeah.
And now with AI and misinformation, it's harder to find credible sources.
Indeed.
Which is it's unfortunate, and the city can't really get involved in pushing information out, especially where like elected politics is involved. That's not a thing. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's basically up to the candidates.
Yeah, to facilitate forums or anything like that. Yeah.
We do town halls, I guess. We don't. Do you guys still do town halls?
Not for like candidacy.
No, just as like business. You held a town hall meeting for the
yes.
Yeah, I still do those.
Yes.
Good.
And then so I mean, I think we're all on Facebook. We're all trying to use our websites and just be as many places as we can. I'm constantly just trying to go to as many events and meetings and things that I can to make myself accessible. My other thing of wanting to get involved was, of course, Manassas is still changing a lot. There's still a lot of development and redevelopment happening. We're unique in Northern Virginia that we have the opportunity to do that. And
for now,
for now, but it's not, but we're in a economically more productive place than some of our neighbors, and I think we will be for a good little bit until, we all get back on the same level or whatever. But coming from the construction background, my hope was that I could kind of help put things in common terms or just kind of help people understand, or like even coming at it from just the millennial perspective, like looking at development from the construction background and the millennial perspective, just trying to put that on the path for what we're planning and things.
Did you have like, what was your one big issue when you ran?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like smart development and millennial representation, I would say, were like my two bigger things.
What does millennial representation mean to you?
I think it means having people that are working full time, having people that are.
I work full time.
Yeah, but like under,
Hey.
under 50, under something.
Yeah,
okay. Just, I mean, you look at your local government, you look at all your forms of government, and how often do you see people under 40? Like, just not that much.
When I was elected, I was 39.
Yeah.
And I was, at that time, now the council is vastly different. But when I was elected, I was 39, and I was probably the youngest person on the council by at least 15 and maybe 20 years.
Yeah. And I mean, Councilwoman Vasquez Luna is also a millennial. But I just think that it's important to get like that next generation involved. I'm hoping I can inspire some people along the way to get involved, to know that you don't have to wait until, you're retired or whatever to get involved in your local politics and local government.
It's a lot of work, though.
It is a lot of work. And, and I'm lucky that my job is supportive and flexible with me to let me go do these different things, and that it's geographically nearby. I mean, I know that that's not the same situation, even for like Vice Mayor Sobeski that we had. She was a nurse that had to be up in Tyson's, 10-hour days, and then coming home and doing this too. I don't know if I would have all that in me. So always kudos to her.
That's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah. So I'm fortunate that my job is supportive, because it is a lot of time,
What do you think? So we just went through a budget process, and we have an approved budget, and we're going down that road. Was that process like about what you thought it would look like, or was it way different, or how did you get your head around that?
Yeah. Great question. I attended most of last year's meetings, so I had a better feel than if I didn't do that.
Right.
However, once you're handed that binder and you're, really starting to get into the math of it, and really considering the changes that are possible to make. One of the things that surprised me was just how many tax rates there are. You just don't really think about that unless you do. And, there's like 15 or 20, like the average resident, only like 3 of them impact you or whatever. So you don't realize that there's so many.
That's right.
So that was a little staggering for me. I think we have a great staff, which is helpful. From my perspective, it seems like they, I don't know if vetted is a good word, but gathered all of the needs of the different departments and made that work mathematically, and presented that to us. I mean, again, Manassas is, in an economically viable place that we didn't really have to fight over too much, I don't think, this time.
We have good staff.
Yeah, great staff.
I mean, Diane's been around there long enough. She's just a master of it.
Yeah.
She was the assistant, I guess, when I got elected. We had a gal named Pat, and I don't remember her last name. But Diane was like the second in charge, I think. And she's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so just like dissecting that, looking at the like the comp plan and the different projects, and then also like the different needs of the utility department. And there are so many pages in that binder. But what I found I mean, we basically followed staff's recommendation, but what I found like interesting was when we did have like the $2 million excess, but trying to figure out the right way to allocate that. And then also if you were to, then there was talks about trying to reduce the tax rate and reduce that number. And I worked with Diane to look at some different math to see, how we could reduce the tax rate by a cent or half a cent or whatever, and where that would lead us. Because I again think that I didn't say this, but I'd say it again. I guess I said it back then. You can edit that part out. No, the investment in the schools is so important. Continuously important. So I thought it was important to make that allocation. But I would say for me, from my point of view, in my first year, I did a lot of listening, because I wasn't really sure at what point in time, if you're going to do something, you do it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the first year in any position like this.
Well, I mean, you don't want to come in the first 6 months, raise all kinds of hell and make a bunch of enemies.
Yes, that too. And also I wasn't really upset about anything, right? Like I didn't run for council because I'm mad. Right. Like I ran for council because I love Manassas and I just want to help people,
Right.
So I think next year I will be more tuned in on the front end and probably a bit more like I'll dive deeper into it and probably sit down with Diane more to flesh stuff out if there's things that I feel like could be reduced or something in any way.
Do you
or expanded upon?
Reduced.
No.
Do you feel like, given your experience there, do you feel as though you have, like, in the back of your mind, a set of emerging priorities, like things that you went through and you kind of said, oh, all right, but man, next year, I don't know. Do you feel like you have a list of those things? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but.
I guess yes and no. I mean, I think we're just still in such a changing environment in the city. I think, investment in the schools is always going to be a top priority. Education is really important to me. But as we see, like, our community center coming online and it having different needs, and once we receive, I don't think we've received yet. I think we actually have the reporting from the RHI that collected the community conversations from that, and that will take some construction costs and things like that. So, and then of course we don't have any data center money yet, and that's supposed to happen eventually. So I think that priorities may shift around once we get there next year, but always education. And I think I'll be honest, I still know that there's things I don't know. Sure. Later this month, I will be meeting and having a whole half day with the social services department and just kind of learning what all they provide, and also where their needs are. So I'm thinking that might spark some inspiration of places that need help as well. I know that they're doing fantastic work, not to say that they aren't. But when I came into this, I felt like I understood workforce development, I understood education, I understood transportation, but health and human services is a big blind spot for me. So
it was a big black box when I was in office too. It's just it's complicated.
Yeah. And there's such a variety of different services, and but we have so many dedicated people that perform them. I just don't know what all is out there and what things are impacting the community the most. And I feel like social services will have some good insight into that.
Yeah. The what was I going to ask you? Affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
I see that kicked around a lot. What do you think? It may be too early, but you may not have had a lot of time to grind on it. But what are your thoughts on affordable housing and how you deliver that?
Yeah, it's interesting the ways in which localities do affordable housing, whether it's full subsidies or if you have to work for the city in a certain capacity in order to apply. I do think there's obviously a need for more affordable or attainable, whatever term, housing. I think that the Manassas Shopping Center will provide some opportunity for that. I think that there is more than one council person who wants to see that type of thing happen. I think another thing, of course, we need more units would help us reduce prices just everywhere in Northern Virginia, or across the country probably. But I think maybe simpler units too, do we have to be building luxury everything everywhere? People just want a roof.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you say that to developers and it's, well, we can't build
Yeah,
this for that cost or whatever,
yeah.
you know.
So essentially, the city would have to get into the housing business.
No, I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying like there are like as I have understood, there are programs for specific people to make that work, you know. And I've understood that to be for like teachers and fire and police, and then that comes through a different process. I'm not saying like the city is allocating housing, just
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one for everybody. I was just at the Northern Virginia elected leaders summit this morning, and everybody's talking about density and walkable areas and just like redoing parts of Northern Virginia that aren't set up to sustain the way people are living now or want to live now.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, I think more units will help, but I don't know if we can build them fast enough for the needs here and across the country. So yeah, complicated issue.
I don't admire you having to go through that. That's tough, because like even though the city does own that land, all right, how do you get a developer to? You have to incent them somehow, probably, and then how do you manage it? And that's a lot.
It's hard.
That's a lot. And, you know, they're like infill development seems like the thing to do, but Manassas and all of Northern Virginia, but Manassas, you know, the parts like Mathis, you know, the traffic there is horrific. And, you know, you put, you know, stack them 4 or 5 high there. It's hard to figure out all that stuff without taking at least some of that land for transit somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, it's fantastically complicated. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. I've read something that said the single occupancy vehicle was the however the killer to society or whatever it said, you know.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you know, when you travel in other countries and whether it's all roundabouts or it's train, I think other people are getting around much more efficiently. I was a few minutes late today thinking that if we had some roundabouts in some of these intersections, I might have gotten here on time. You know, I was just in Italy for my wedding, and we drove from like one part to another part for like 3 hours and like never hit a traffic light because it was just like all roundabouts from like region to region.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we have just set ourselves up here in the US to be sitting in traffic. Like we just built it that way. I
mean, we went to India last fall, and even in Delhi, there's giant roundabouts. Now they've had to work in some stoplights into some of those, but yeah, in general, it's all roundabouts. And in Europe, I mean, it's basically the same sort of way. But traffic in India it's not a fair comparison to here because it's completely chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a zoo. I mean, they shouldn't even bother paying like lane markers.
Right.
No one pays attention.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah. So
single occupancy and the trains there. You know, when we were in Scotland and Ireland a couple of years ago, yeah, same sort of deal. You're supposed to train. Yeah,
I know. And like at the summit this morning too, they were talking about, well, you know, if you could put a metro stop anywhere, where would you put it? And, you know, Chair McKay from Fairfax, his comment, you know, took the fun out of the question, frankly, but we can't think about expanding metro until we can afford the metro that we have, you know. And I mean he's exactly right, but
yeah,
you know,
wrong.
Yeah, the moderator was like, it was supposed to be a fun question, you know.
Killjoy.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I wish that we were more transit oriented. I also wish we are going to have a 28 bypass, you know, so I wish them both. You know, there's nothing, transportation is multimodal in this country, you know, it's cars, it's trains, it's bikes, it's ped, it's everything.
I mean, there's no getting metro down 66 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, not.
They gave the right of way to whoever that is, the toll road people. I mean, it's gone. I guess you could build it elevated. That would cost a fortune.
It would cost a fortune either way, on the ground or not. Yeah.
I mean, VRE is kind of our last hope.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for that weekend service. It's supposed to be coming.
It's supposed to be a thing, right?
It's supposed to be any day now. But I will say, I also participate on the COG Transportation Planning Board, and of course, that group has started the DMV Moves initiative. I don't know if you've heard of that, but what they're trying to do across DC, Maryland, and Southern Maryland, Northern Virginia, is bring all of like the bus and the metro stakeholders, train stakeholders together and figure out where they can work together better, like where their parking facilities could be shared or where routes can be reworked to minimize the number of routes, just different, so I think there's a lot of effort in that right now because, there's so many different bus lines, even just in Northern Virginia. It's really hard even just to read the OmniRide map, like in schedule.
Right.
So, I mean, if all of these entities could work together a little better, or maybe even, I don't know, one day become one big entity, but I don't know if that'd be good or bad, but would maybe help with the fluidity of transportation.
Yeah, I saw there was like a proposal for a bus depot at the train station in Old Town.
Okay.
I mean, I saw it's like there's some sort of survey or something on the city website about it.
Yeah, they're certainly looking at changing up the way that train station is. I don't know about a bus depot, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bus like stop.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I filled out the survey.
Yeah, good.
And told them that I don't think pushing more buses into Old Town is an excellent idea. It's not. Traffic there, especially in the afternoon, is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly we need to be open to new and different ideas. Yes. Because it's not all wine and roses right now.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem with the roundabout and GTS is that, number one, Americans are just not used to it. They're just not. But it works well enough out on 15 where there's like 3 roundabouts, right?
Yeah.
And in Maryland they have them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that roundabout's just too small. It's off center, and it's just, they made it fit, right? But I think more than that, people, it's a lot of change because you've gone from a 4-lane, highway to a 2-lane deal.
Yeah.
And, with units coming in on the other side, it makes it, I think that visually it's starting to make more sense to people.
Right. Like that's exactly what I was going to say too. I think it feels off balance and uncentered right now just because of where the light was before. Yeah. But I think once the houses are in place and it just becomes more complete, it'll just feel a lot more natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know there was pushback, and I know there are still people that are stopping when they pull up to it.
All the time.
I live off of that. I live over there. So
I was approaching it the other day, and a guy stopped in the circle.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, dude, that's not. Go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I mean, you remember how that road was before, where people are weaving around each other because of when somebody slows down to turn, you're jumping into the other lane, and then somebody's walking.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine that the rear-ending collisions happened a lot in that area.
Probably. I mean, the traffic circles are great, but you always have to think about like that next intersection.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that next intersection towards Old Town, that gets backed up pretty badly. And, the public safety is a concern there, but, it kind of is what it is. It'll start to reroute the way it always does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what else?
What else? I brought a piece of paper just in case I wanted to talk about anything in particular. I'm excited about the possibilities for the Old Town Inn. The RFP is out, so I think soon enough things will be happening. I know people were upset that it kind of came down and sat vacant for a long time, which it's just construction and bidding processes take a while. But we'll be excited once things start happening over there. I'm really, I think our city's doing a great job. We're talking back to transportation, on just connecting different areas, whether it's new bike routes or paved ped routes. I think it's, there's more to come, but there's been a lot of great additions recently. Also, have you been to Dean Park?
I went over there to play pickleball.
Yeah, it's massive. It's beautiful. It's really nice.
Now, is that how is the new, I mean, having a park like that with lots of public access to immediately adjacent to an elementary school, like, is that a problem, or is there just going to be a giant fence there, or?
I mean, I think it's set up that parks at schools are allowed to be used outside of school hours, but I think most of our schools have parks adjacent, that like the pickleball fields at Round, they don't have a big fence, I don't think. Or do they? You might know better than me.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the
I just want
what the precautions.
So here's why I asked. So
yeah.
back in the day, when they put a big addition on Osborne, the idea was that, and this door might still be over there, I don't remember. The idea was that, well, we're going to put a bigger library into Osborne and just make it a public library. And then at some point it occurred to somebody, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And so for years, there was this random double door that was on the outside of the building that was supposed to have been that. That's why I asked. Like, is this a concern? I mean, I'm sure the school people have thought it through.
Yeah.
In their designs. And they probably just have a big fence. But no, the pickleball courts they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They're all brand new. And, I haven't been over there in a minute. I usually play over at the mall.
Okay.
There's pickleball courts over there, indoor.
Oh yeah, indoor, yeah.
And but so I haven't been over there in a minute. Is the skate ramp thing finished? Didn't it have to be fixed or something?
It needed to be fixed. As far as I know, it is not done yet. I'm not sure what the status on it is.
Okay.
But still getting there. And the school is coming along too. It's
coming on out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I used that road as a shortcut to get over to a business meeting, and I was like,
there's a school coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is coming up.
Yeah.
And those units right on Grant are coming up pretty quick too.
Yeah.
Those guys, they spent a long time on infrastructure over there.
It was some pretty serious water lines and things that had to be installed for that. Yeah.
Well, it was all just
a lot of like lead stuff that had to be removed.
Oh, is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's a drag.
Yeah. But yeah, it's coming along. I mean, it's a great city. Like one thing that I've found while campaigning and also while in office is that there's just so many people that are trying to do good here. So many people that are trying to help people other than themselves.
Right.
You right now, you're trying to help people get information. There's so many people in Manassas that like have this drive to help. And I love it.
They do.
I mean, it's such a tight knit community. Like you don't feel this in other places. People and being a part of the Prince William Chamber. I see the pictures of the Prince William events, and they're just not as well attended as the Manassas events. I don't know if that's true. Sometimes it seems like that. But no, I mean, I think the business community is so tight knit. I think people really enjoy being in this area. But I think that we do also have some of the population has a different set of challenges, but there are so many people that are like out just trying to help. Whether it's provide resources, provide food, provide whatever it is that's needed. There's just so much good happening here.
It is. There, the city has a long tradition of citizen involvement. When it became clear that we had an issue where we needed a shelter, the business community and the city came together and started Serve, which is now in VFS, I think. But, that was all done on the community side for years.
Yeah.
And it was supported like that. I think at some point it just got to be too tall of a task, right, for all volunteers or something. Right. I mean, that's an enterprise, man. But yeah, I think you have a long history of citizen. The initial fundraising for the hospital, local service clubs.
Yeah.
Library was started by a group of women. I don't know it was the garden club, but it was a group of women in Old Town who basically got the space where it was, which is nothing like now, of course. But, they would volunteer their time to sit up there on weekends and the museum.
Yes.
Yeah. They just volunteered their time to go up there and sit and be a docent for a day and stuff like that. So the city definitely does have a long long history of that kind of stuff, citizen involvement.
Yeah. And I think you can I think because it's a tight knit community and, smaller in proximity, but also, I mean, quasi smaller in population than some of our bigger neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can feel and see your impact. Whether it's like I have a friend that started a nonprofit that's doing after school programs in Georgetown South, and she's an Osborne graduate, and she was able to like get that up, get it moving, and offered like 4 programs this past year. And she just had a baby like last week. Dream in Nova, if anybody's listening wants to check that out. But it's awesome. There's just so many people that really care about this area and just want to help. And that's, I think, what's driving me to continue to help and just try to keep the city great. I think it's a great city.
Yeah, I think that, the biggest change is over in the GTS neighborhood with the city investments and, the public safety building. I had a lot of concerns about the public safety building.
Okay.
Locating it right next to Georgetown South. But seems like it's worked out okay. And I have a lot of trust. I had Keen on here 4 or 5 weeks ago, and that's never, he and I have been completely candid about that. Not that my opinion matters a hell of a lot, but I like to talk to him about it. And it seems like it's worked out better than I had hoped for. It really has.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that I talk to, Chief Keen's a great person to talk to because he was, on the streets in the 90s and now he's the chief. And you talk to Meg Carroll too, and they all kind of say that Georgetown South is the best it's ever been. And I think that it tells a story for Manassas too. I think the less pretty history, I think, is certainly so much less prominent, than it used to be. I just think it's the city has come a long way.
Well, when you have a population change like the city had in the early 2000s and the 2010s, it's tough. You have people in elected office who are not experts in this stuff.
No.
And in a small city like Manassas, the staff by and large they're better informed, but they're not experts.
Mm-hmm.
And when we reached out to the federal government for help, like certainly there's a playbook for this, right? Certainly someone has done something like this before. The answer was no, not really. We're not going to help you, but we'll sue you. So it was absolutely a gauntlet for the city to get through. But I agree with you. I feel like we're on the other side of that. That community seems like it's in pretty good shape to me. We have people like Antonio who has started, 10 different businesses now. I go to that taco place at least once a week. Yeah. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, I do agree. I feel like the city is in a better place.
Yeah.
And we got big question marks. What do we do with the Old Town Inn? What is that going to look like? What's it going to cost the citizens? The parking garage, same questions. Like, what's that going to cost the citizens? Because those are big ticket items.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I feel like Manassas is in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
When I run into people outside of the city, they generally have, 10 years ago it might have been a little shakier, but I feel like our reputation has improved. And especially with all the stuff going on in Old Town. People love that place.
They do. Yeah. I mean, I have people telling me all the time, like, oh, I love Manassas, love coming to First Friday, or I just love it down there. As a city council person here, you are at the same table as people in Prince William and Fairfax and Loudoun very often.
Yeah.
They connect in a different way than we connect with them. And a lot of that has to do with Metro probably, but there's a sense that a lot of people just really like it down here. I'm meeting more and more people that are like, oh, I came down to Manassas the other day and like, did this or did that. And I loved it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's become such a great place. Hoping to keep that course and see what else we can do.
The Old Town Inn thing, I think people didn't love the price that we paid for it, but as I've said on here before, you had to buy the guy's business too, right? You didn't just buy the dirt; you bought his business,
mm-hmm.
and it was expensive. But I admit to sitting at one of those benches at Ground Central Station not all that long ago and saying, that'd make an incredible park. But I know we shouldn't do that, right? We should get return on investment for the citizens. But man, that would be cool.
The old mid-city park.
Yeah, that would be cool. It really would. But there's just, that would not be good government.
That wouldn't be taxable. That would be a continued cost.
Yeah. So anything coming up this fall for you guys that you feel like is going to be a heavy lift?
That I feel is going to be a heavy lift. I mean, the what I think of a lot of our citizens are facing right now are the ICE raids that are happening all around.
I hear that.
So
is there a lot of activity? I see sometimes in some of the Facebook groups, I don't remember which one, that they'll take like pictures of the van or something.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of that going on?
I mean, I obviously think it's happening in DC more than it's happening in Manassas.
Well, DC's currently occupied.
Yeah. But it's still happening in Manassas too. I met a high school student the other day, and that was the one question she had for me. It's like, my friend's parent, like, they don't know where they are. Like, what are you doing about that?
A kid asked you that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I mean, it's hard to think about what these kids are experiencing in this regime that we're living in, and how they're conceptualizing it. I got coffee with a colleague who's from Pakistan today. His family's all citizens, but he was telling me today that his 11-year-old just asked him, "Dad, are we citizens?" Because he's scared.
Sure.
And it's awful.
Sure.
So I think continuing to monitor that, and I mean, again, all hail Chief Keen. I probably can't say all hail.
But they should.
But Chief Keen's so great. I mean, our whole police force, I think, is excellent and just under good leadership. So
we are very fortunate.
Yeah. But I think that's going to continue to be a concern in this area. Even like the recent like Puerto Rican and Salvadoran festivals weren't as well attended as they have been in the past. And that's troubling. It's troubling to think that these kids are walking to school and their parents are nervous to go outside or any of that. It's not okay. I mean, it's, obviously not like a budgetary item, but that's a big deal to me.
Well, it doesn't have to all be.
Yeah.
Like we have a place down in the Northern Neck, right on the Potomac, and in Colonial Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And Colonial Beach has, it has a beach, and there's like this big long sidewalk. And what it's great for is for a family to come down for the day and, back their car up to the sidewalk where the beach is and just open the hatch and, out comes the little tent and their 2.5 kids and, all that stuff. And it's a very inexpensive way for a family to enjoy a day at the beach because they can bring coolers. They don't have to go in town and buy anything if they don't want to. We see very few Latino families down there this year. Very few. It's striking.
Yeah, it's striking.
So is Manassas? I know this is politically loaded,
okay,
but are we getting letters from like the government saying we're a sanctuary city or any of that stuff?
We are not considered a sanctuary city.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that because the county does most of our like prosecutions and stuff?
Oh gosh, I wish I had the correct terminology to answer this question.
That's all right. It's just, we're just
yeah. No, I mean, I don't have the good terminology to answer.
That's good.
Question,
that's fine.
But yeah,
that's fine. I mean, I know it's fraught, right? Because at one point we ended up one of those lists, and everyone was like, "We don't even do this."
But the list came from an interest group.
Wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it came from an interest group, not from the
not
from
the
government. State. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like an interest group could say whatever they want.
Well, right.
Yeah.
No one's gonna. That doesn't mean much, but yeah. So it seems like it's a tough time right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair to all these people. So that's one of my biggest concerns. Every day, and going into the fall.
So do you have people like call you?
We've gotten emails.
Okay.
I know Councilwoman Vasquez Luna talks to a lot of people too.
I need to get her on here too.
Yeah, she's great.
I don't think I've emailed her yet.
Oh, yeah, email her. Yeah,
I emailed the mayor and Ralph. I'm sorry, Councilman Smith.
There you go.
And I don't think I've heard back from them. That was just a day or two ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we get some correspondence about it, and so that's a concern. And what else? I mean, I think the community center is going to be
the old school part.
Yeah, you could call a big lift. I mean, that's going to be a lot of changes over the next year or so. Just figuring out what's the best use for that space, and then making that happen. And then, of course, the fire station in addition to that. That'll be over there. So
there's no easy answers there.
No, it's all really complicated. It's definitely hard. It's been I'm learning so much. I've learned so much in the past year. But there's so much more to learn, and oftentimes there is not a right answer. So just having to live in the answer, whatever, or the lack of an answer, whatever that is.
Plus, anything in the fire and rescue, it costs 10 times what you think it costs.
Yeah,
for good reasons.
Yeah,
but when we first started doing that kind of stuff, I was just always like, man, you guys are killing me here.
Yeah.
But you think about it, you have to have probably 4 times the number of people of a normal business because you staff it 24/7.
Right.
And you're going to have people that are sick or they get hurt on the job or just any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a challenge, and everything is expensive there. You got to have it.
Yeah.
But it's always so expensive. And the trucks, that last hook and ladder cost over tower truck costs over $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's hard to explain to people. Like, how come it costs so much? It just does.
Yeah. I mean, the cost of everything is expensive. The cost of building, yeah.
Well, plus the expectation in an area like this is, I'm laying on the floor, I've managed to cut my, arm wide open, and I'm going to dial 911, and I expect someone to show up in under 5 minutes.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Out in the country, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
If that happened here in the city, that would be a problem.
I know.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about how other places in the country live and the expectations that we have versus what other people have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, down in Colonial Beach, I think the nearest, there's a squad right in Colonial Beach, but the nearest one I think is 18 miles, something like that. Maybe not quite that far, but it's a ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they ain't going to be there in 5 minutes.
No, yeah. I know. It's crazy to even imagine. But
So what about the job? Like, I asked this question kind of about the budget, but like, now that you've been in there a minute, what was the hardest part to get used to, or the part that surprised you the most about the job? Being on the inside looking out. You're not sitting out in the seats in the council chambers and thinking about, like, what are these crazy people up here doing? Now you're one of the crazy people.
Yeah. And what's funny is when you're in the audience, I feel like the meetings feel like so slow and like so many words. But when you're on the dais, the meetings are going by really fast. Yeah. Like, I cannot get a second in. I just can't, and I've tried and I'm failing, which is fine. But yeah, that's one thing that really surprised me was, feeling like the meetings would just be like, oh my gosh, we're just sitting here in the audience, like listening. But when you're at the dais, it's like very quick. The other thing that's funny is like that everybody is just looking at you. Like, you can definitely see everybody's facial reactions, like everybody whispering to each other. Like, you can see every little bit of it, and like, if you feel the need to avoid eye contact or whatever it is. Right. So that
make you nervous when they're like over there, like, I mean, whispering and stuff.
Not nervous, but it just is, it's just apparent. It's just, you're aware of it. But so those things were surprising. What's hard is, I mean, again, just that one, there's like no right answer anywhere most of the time. That's hard. And, but just trying to, like, one of the other reasons why I ran, like working with HCCA and working around the General Assembly, like I just found that all of these people were just regular people. Like, nobody knew anything more than anybody else. Like, they didn't know anything unless they were taught. They're all just normal people, no advanced set of skills. Like, Some are smarter than others, whatever, but
they're just people.
They're all just people. And that was, one of the things I wanted to show people by me getting into office is like, I'm not anybody out of the ordinary. Like, if I can do this, you can do this too. But I think what's hard is like just all of the different, just getting your head around all the different facets, and then also like collecting all of the voices that you can and contemplating that to like make a decision. Like, I mean, that's it. It's time consuming. It's something that's a great time spent, but it's time consuming, and it's just challenging when you're being, getting opposing viewpoints and then trying to do what's right, and then also thinking about what would me 50 years from now think is the right answer. I mean, that's the other part too, is just
that's almost unknowable.
Yeah. So my eye's been twitching lately. It's not stressful, but no,
that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
When my eye does that, it's stress.
Yeah. I think me too. But I mean, it's been, it's a lot to learn, but it's all like, it's it feels productive, so I think like they often say in positions like this, like you aren't effective until you've had a whole year, so I still think I have some more room to grow into, like, especially like once I get into my second budget process, like I think I'll be much more involved. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but
how much, so there's always this thing like, well, these guys don't ever listen to us, right? That everywhere in local government, people, me, well, we sent you a letter and you ignored us. No, I didn't ignore you. I just disagree with you. But then there was always that threshold, right? Where you started to get enough letters or emails to where you're like, maybe I need to look at this a different way. What's that threshold for you guys, do you think? Do you get a lot of email?
Yeah, we get a lot of emails.
From citizens, do you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that concern threshold, I'm sure, is different for everybody. But, I mean, for me, it just takes a couple valid reasons. I mean, it doesn't, I would say like for me, it was 3. Yeah. Okay.
3 emails, because we didn't get a lot of email back in the day.
Okay.
But when I got 3, and it was more than just the canned, I hate you or whatever it is. It was 3, basically. And then I started to think, maybe I've got this wrong. And everyone has a different number and a different formula, but has feedback ever, prompted you to think like, maybe I'm wrong about this, or maybe I need to look at it a different way?
Well, for me, I'm still like figuring out what decisions were made last year. Cause I haven't made a whole lot of decisions yet. But like, for example, there's, like a big battery station that's going to be installed near the train tracks in Old Town, but it's also really close to some homes. And we recently received several notes about that. And, my first thought was like, wait, did I approve this? And then I was like, oh no, I didn't. It was last year, so.
Where's that going to go?
Like
down by the surface parking? Where the farmer's market is?
No, like closer to Fairview.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, is what I believe I saw.
Okay.
So some things like that I'm like, well, shoot, I wasn't even part of that. I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh no, or whatever.
Right.
Not just, I'm sure the council people had their reasons for making whatever decision they made, but yeah. So we do get correspondence.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit I don't always reply to all of them, but I do read them, and like, so for what that's worth.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, public feedback's a weird thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's important, but like, there's no but. It's important. I guess, but you gotta take it all, you gotta take it all and like really, think about where people are coming from when you're making these decisions. So,
yeah. I mean, you gotta meet the people where they stand, right? That's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, we had like a lot of teachers reaching out about the schools during the budget process, and, so many teachers that just talked about how dedicated they are and, why they think investment in the schools will be beneficial. And, those were all really striking. So just some stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of luck getting school board members on, but hopefully this fall. In the summertime is when those guys kind of slack off, and the schools are closed.
Our school board's been busy, it feels like.
Yeah. I want to understand like what the plan is for improving the schools. And I haven't seen. I've looked. I mean, it can be hard to find documents on any municipal website, right? But I think that just communicating something like that would help defer a lot of the questions when it comes to budgets, because there's a lot of big ticket items that are unavoidable. You got to build new schools. You have to. You got to buy buses.
Yeah.
None of those things are cheap.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah, one thing I'm really excited for them, for the school board and the schools in general, to have just purchased the central office space. I'm excited about the alternative education program.
It does seem cool.
Yeah, I think that there are kids that are, just getting lost in the big classroom setting. Then they're, might be stopping attending, or, just causing trouble, and then they're in trouble, or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm interested to see how the pilot goes, but I have faith that that will change student outcomes for a population of students. And, by the time that you can positively impact a set of students that have been not succeeding prior to that, then your success rates are up.
I think my concern I've talked to some friends who are teachers or work in the schools. My concern is that the damn thing works. Yeah. And suddenly it's success. And now a lot of people want in, and where do you put it then? That's a concern, because I think that to me, it sounds like it's a great idea.
Yeah. I don't know that it's going to be like optional. Like, I don't know that students will be able to be like, hey, can I go to the alternative school? I don't think that's how it's going to be, but
well, hopefully not, but
yeah.
But educators will want to put kids in there if it seems like it works.
Right.
And it's a great problem to have, right? But it's still an issue. But I guess you'd go back to Marstella or something, but I'm sure that's you guys have plans for that though. But short term, I guess you could. It would be fabulous if it works.
Yeah, and they have a good amount of space over there at that building. So, there's things like that. In terms of, where's the plan? I would say all of that stuff they're doing is a great plan. Do they have like a document that's like, here's XYZ of how everything's gonna? Right. No, but I believe our school board is really dedicated to getting that path, moving forward and moving as quickly as it can forward as well. A lot of the issues that our school system faces, a lot of school systems are facing. Sure. But of course, ours, I think, is just maybe faced issues longer, or because the community is so involved that it feels worse. But our schools also have a lot of really positive stuff going on. We have awesome trades programs. Coming from Osborne, being an Osborne Park graduate, and now like learning about Osborne, I love to see the variety of programs that they have, and how quickly they can put together a program to fit a need. Right. And that's what big school systems like Prince William can't just do, because they have to get permissions and there's red tape. And when you have a school system like ours, they can really produce those opportunities. Yeah. And I thought that the CTE thing came together pretty quickly. It's some number of years ago, but and they have been very responsive to issues in the CTE program, because we tried to participate like the first year, and they were like, well, you need to submit a report every week, and you need to do this and that. And then I'm like, brother, I have 8 employees. Yeah. I do not have time to have on-site visits and this and that and the other. And so they've been very responsive to that. I think so. Anything else? Anything else? I guess I would love to just share with anybody who listens to this that I'm trying to make myself accessible. If people have thoughts they want to share with me, give me a call, give me an email. Happy to talk more. Trying to say yes to as many things as possible. So, just here to help.
Yeah. You're on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Instagram, all the usual, and email. I think we connected by email, right? Yeah, no, you were mailing me today in traffic. I'll be there 3 minutes late.
I know. Yeah, I was getting caught at every light.
Yeah, I mean, people, the scheduling, it's like this, it takes place in my office. So the scheduling, this is pretty fast and loose. I was trying to schedule 3 or 4 of these things, because this week I have a little bit of slack. So I've got like Tim DeMaria and you and Dion, who's running for the same job as Tim has. And I put Dion down on the wrong day. And he showed up and he's very forgiving. And then I got sick for a week.
Oh, shoot.
So, yeah. So it happens. But, I only put out about 1 of these a week. So I've got stuff now for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. But, all right, cool. Well, anything else? Nothing else?
No, I don't think so. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service as well. And,
Well, thank you for all you do. I mean, it's not an easy job that you. Oh, well, wait a minute. So, based on a short amount of experience, do you think like this is something you're interested in continuing to do for a long time?
I am still figuring that out. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it.
Oh, here comes the Manassas
of course.
train.
Yeah, I mean, I am passionate enough about it to do it for a while. Do I think I'll be a 30-year person? I don't necessarily think so, but I do intend to do my best as long as I can and as long as it feels helpful.
Yeah. About year 7, I kind of ran out of gas. I got involved to make things happen. And, we had gone through the Great Recession and all that fun and games, and nothing was happening, and we didn't have any money. So I kind of ran out of gas with it.
Yeah.
But, a couple of terms, I feel like, you're just at that point, after the first year or two, you really got your arms around it by then.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you gotta, I would say I'm planning to, run for a second term, because you're not fully effective until you've at least done a year, and then by the time you have all these skills, you can't just walk away now. You got to do something with the skills you have. So
people have expectations.
Yeah. Why don't we just teach you all this stuff to help us, So, so I'll be around for as long as it feels helpful.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much.